Okay. I mentioned earlier that one of the ways that my wife can read, of course, is Braille. Another way is pre-recorded talking books. Another way is to scan the books in, get a scanner, press the book page by page on the little glass plate, have the computer take a picture of each page, and then convert that picture into text, regular word processor computer text, that can then be read by the speech synthesizer. It works great. It takes a little time. You have to page. It's sort of like if you've ever photocopied an entire book. Usually they don't like you to do that, but photocopy the book page by page by page. That's essentially what my wife has to do when she scans in a book for Bookshare. They have special scanners, by the way, that allow you to wrap the book around the edge in such a way that you could even see the inner margins of the pages. How often have you tried to photocopy something and it starts to get illegible toward the center of the book?
So often.
Yeah, a lot of times. They actually have now, it's angled like this on the edge. So you could wrap the book around so that you can get it almost flush with the plate, even on the very most inner margin of each page. Specialized scanners that can do that. They also have cameras that can do that. Why do I feel like Tony Stark in Iron Man 2? Anyway, that's it. This is called the Intel Reader. This is just a stand, by the way. My wife was nice enough to let me borrow this. And what you have to do is open this baby up. Let's see if I can get this undone here. This isn't the actual device. This is essentially the stand that you use to hold the device. And if I can't get it unlocked here, I'll show it to you guys in a different way. There's another latch. Oh, there you go. On the edge? Oh, bless you. There you go. There you go. Now we should have that little foldable arm here. That should release as well, so it can tip up. I'm glad you know how to use my devices. There you go. It should. Here, let's see. Yeah, lay down flat like that. And yeah, there should be a release. There you go. Oh, great. Thank you. Now, what this is essentially is a fancy schmancy cradle stand. And this device right here is the Intel Reader. You know what this is essentially? This is a camera combined with a computer that has a speech synthesizer, optical character recognition, and a large print display. Now, what you do, and as you can see, this is portable. It isn't like those big, bulky scanners. A student could come to your class with one of these. Maybe you have something you want them to read. They push the Intel Reader into the device. They turn it on. And after it initializes, I'm going to get something to read here, guys.
Enabling technologies for.
I had some handouts here. Let me get the recent handout. Maybe this is what you want your students to read. So what they do is they put the book under this little retaining mechanism here. Let's see if I can get this. That looks pretty good. Tuck it up. Now, I wanted to do some reading. I know what that sounded like. It was really supposed to say shoot mode, but it kind of sounds like something else. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a picture of the page here, Could we get the lights just for a second, please? Thank you. It's going to be focusing now. There's a lot of processing that has to go on. A blind person could put the page upside down. You don't know what kind of font it's going to have. You don't know how big the letters are, whether they're right justified or not. It depends, right? So there's a lot of decision making that has to go on inside of the computer after it takes the picture in order to convert the picture into regular computerized text.
Focusing.
Okay? Takes the picture. Now it's doing the processing, and in a short while it's going to display the document and the screen in very large letters, and it's going to speak the document
Press Shift to capture
as
another
well.
image. Press play to hear your text.
I don't want to capture another page, although I could. I'm going to play and see if it's got anything here. I'm going to let that go. It'll start talking, or at least it should. And while I'm waiting for it to do that, I can give you guys some handouts here. The first two handouts I'm going to give you, one of them is some suggestions. Oh, there it goes.
Press play to hear
One
your
of them
text.
is some suggestions that you can use in the classroom to help your students. One of them is a collection of websites, readings, and videos that we mentioned in the February workshop. And the other one, is the collection of readings and videos and downloadable software. You might like to look at it for today's workshop. Thank you. If you have any spares of those, please let me know. Now, has it started reading yet? I wasn't listening to it. Okay. I might have to take another picture of this guy if it doesn't work.
Focusing.
I'll try that. Can we have the lights, please? So, what have we learned? It's easier for computers to talk than it is for them to listen. Speech synthesizers have gotten much smaller in the intervening years. They sound better, and they're cheaper. You can use either certain computer software packages or some hardware devices like we've seen to do the speaking. It isn't always hardware or always software. It could be one or the other. Now, what about some other talking devices that are not directly related to reading? Let's say, for example, a visually impaired person is walking around in the city and wants to find a particular address. Well, what do in your car? You check your GPS, right? Now, why in the world can't they make the same device that talks to you in the car into a portable device you can carry? Well, they have actually. Let me show it to you. Here it is. On the bottom we have the GPS receiver. On the top we have a keyboard that the visually impaired person can use to interact with the device so they can type in where they want to go. The GPS receiver will locate their present location, check the maps that are stored in the computer, and tell them actually where to go, so to speak. You know, proceed down one block and then turn to the right and so forth. And if you have trouble typing, you can also have a Braille keyboard like we saw on the Perkins Brailler. a portable talking GPS receiver. Well, I don't need a device like that because I can see well enough. So I like a device like this. This is a GPS receiver as well, the Garmin E-Trek. Now, this isn't equipped with maps, but what this does is it has a big arrow on the screen. If I go to a location once, I can bookmark it. I can set a waypoint.
To capture another image.
And then,
Press play to hear your text.
if I ever need to get back to that place again, I press the button and I follow the arrow. And if I go past my destination, the arrow will reverse. It's almost like following a compass needle. But even if I get lost or turned around, I know that as long as I follow the arrow, I will eventually get to my destination. So that's the kind of GPS that I prefer. Let's see if we can get this guy to talk, and I will continue on while we're waiting for it. Now, how about some other devices? I love to eat, as you can tell. My wife loves to cook. What a great combination, a marriage made in heaven. What would happen if you combined a laser product scanner, like they use at the checkout counter in the supermarket, with a talking computer that had a database of all the important barcodes? A blind person can use this device to identify unknown things. Let's see if we can identify something. I'm a visually impaired person. I find, oh my goodness, what is this? It is a can of something. But what is it? Do I have to open up the can to find out? No. Watch this. This is called the Omni. No, I know. It's still, now the problem is if you can't see what the label is, it's hard to know how to orient the can. So you might have to roll it in front of the scanner. Let's see if I can do this. Let me get the.
Press shoot to capture another image. Press
Quiet.
play to hear your text.
This worked this morning. Come on. Well, that's cheating. That's better. And guess what, gang? It works for other stuff too. One of my favorite movies. Well, you don't know what it is, though. Of course, you can't. You're blind.
Title: Lady in the Water, 2006.
And I can read other information about it.
Synopsis. Shyamalan, the sixth sense, the village, considers his mission to revive the ancient art of storytelling, which he has diagnosed as a dying art, melting aspects of the fantastic with the mundane and bringing to life a mythology.
Okay, so as long as it's in the database, you can now identify it with this device. Now, what you do with it afterwards, sometimes my wife used to take the labels off and then write Braille on the labels and glue the labels back on. But you know what she does now? She uses magnetic dymo tape. Sticks it on the can, a low-tech solution, I know, but now she doesn't have to identify it again because it's been labeled. Isn't that slick? Now, speaking of DVDs, I have a gripe. I'm a real movie buff. I wish they would have descriptions, verbal descriptions of what's going on in the movies. A lot of times when I go to the movies or watch a show, there are people running around in the dark and they're shooting and I can't tell who's doing what. I bet you guys have those troubles too, even with your good eyesight. Wouldn't it be nice if there was somebody giving you a descriptive audio of what was going on? They've been doing this in Europe for quite a while. Here's the same DVD that I got in Europe. You can play these on special DVD players, and you can also use VLC. Some of you might know that that's a video player very popular on Windows to play the foreign DVDs and get access to that descriptive audio. But you know what? The US is finally wising up. As each and every year goes by, more and more movie companies are putting an audio track on the discs, as well as Spanish and French and all that. They might call it descriptive audio, they might call it audio description. Look on the back of the disc and it'll tell you. Here's a good example, the Prometheus came out, it was last year. This thing has a descriptive audio track. It's hidden on the back along with the subtitle information, but it's there. So it is really great to see that people are wising up. So now everybody's happy. My mom, who can't hear very well, she can use the subtitles, of course. And we, who can't see very well, we can use the descriptive audio.